second these rods are gonna go. There we go. One more. Give me another one. Fuck, they're everywhere back there.
Yeah.
Number 2. Let's get it in me. Lots to be shared. One thing that I can say with confidence is I don't think I've ever told anybody or suggested anybody share anything from here, video-wise, from YouTube to anywhere else. Not that I can recall. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't recall ever saying, please like or share, whatever they say, right? But there's something here that I'm going to share with you guys that you may want to possibly share with someone who you care about, respect, and feel they may need this information. It's funny when you get to, who am I? I'm a nobody with a lot of messages to get out, but a message like this, I don't know if it's too late. How do you get this out? I mean, if the scientists can't get the truth out due to directly being scared of being wiped out, then what do, right? What do? How can you get true, honest knowledge spread globally? How could you do that? I wonder if you didn't own one of the major news outlets or a major global newspaper or whatever. But anyway, I'm going to ask that you guys listen to this carefully, all right? I'm going to read it slowly. Listen to it carefully because it affects every single one of you. And let's face it, we're all living here together. We are all in the same place together. We can't survive without each other in a way. But anyway, listen to this. I want you to listen to this very carefully. And if you question anything about it, you can Google up Google it. Little prick. Why is there a rooster right here? There's only one, I think, left. He does it one more time, it'll scare him away. But anyway, listen to this very carefully, okay? If you question this, or if it alarms you too much, or you just want to shake your head and look away, sucks to be you. But you can look for and validate these easy, solid facts very easily. I knew this a long time ago, but when I get it straight from a scientist, a very educated, lifelong senior of our population, scientists, the guys who seek and find the truth for us, it needs to be shared, right? This needs to be heard, needs to be shared, but please listen. All right? Okay, I'll get past the intro. Note to me from him. Now listen. Notice all the governments are now pushing this ridiculous net zero bullshit again. Plus a couple of others, including Trudeau, of course, are going to cut farmers' yields by banning the use of nitrates. Yet another outrageous lie. Just like CO2 is causing climate change. I wonder if people have twigged yet that it's impossible. Now listen to this, you guys, all right? I wonder if people have twigged yet that it's impossible for fossil fuel emissions of CO2 to even begin to be a cause. But they have convinced the sheeple again. This is from a lifelong scientist, all right? The fact is, the specific gravity of CO2 is 1.592. All right, so specific gravity, that means how much does CO2 weigh? How much does a CO2 particle weigh? And its weight is 1.592, which means being heavier than air. Okay, are you guys still following? How can any scientist, I use the word carefully, explain that a heavier than air gas somehow gets into the atmosphere? It can't. CO2 can only fall downward. It's subject to the same laws of gravity. It's subject to the same laws of gravity, for Christ's sakes. But the sheeple are convinced, and that's all that counts. I actually contributed a paper about 2 years back showing how CO2 cannot suddenly fly 50,000 feet or more into the air. Of course, it was instantly banned. The same as any scientist who dares to disagree with net zero. They claim that 93% of scientists are on the agreement over CO2 being the cause. The truth is, I'd say it's less than 10%. However, we are just the peons who are supposed to lap it up and swallow it whole. Catch you later. There you go. There you go. You know, any of you who've taken any sour gas courses, for working in confined spaces, you all know that the deadly gases sink, right? The deadly gas sinks, the air rises to the top. The exhaust from your vehicle in a shop hits the ground first, where you get knocked down. They call it getting, when sour gas, bad gases, they knock you down, and you get knocked down, and then you're in the bottom, knocked down, where the gases are settling because they're heavier than air, and then you die. So, what do you guys think of that one? No, really, what do you really think about that one? What's going on right now? It's pretty freaking, it's amazing, isn't it? It's just amazing what is going on. But I was trying to explain to Sarah earlier this morning when I read this to her. I said to her, because she's busy. She's a mom. She's a full-on mom. And she's full of love and kindness and all things sugar and spice and all things nice, right? And there's me. I lost a lot to truth not being shared in my lifetime already. I lost a lot to absolute truth being hidden. And I think that's part of my drive to try to find truth and share truth, expose truth before this time's up. Because like I said before, I don't want to die. And maybe we find out everything then. But I don't want to die and go, oh shit, really? You dirty, filthy bastards. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Right? I don't want that. I want to know right now I want to hopefully help and be a part of turning it around so that every single one of us gets a fair crack at being absolutely happy and rocking the shit out of this lifetime right now, with all the bullshit out of the way, all the lies out of the way, not affecting us, right? That's why we're here. So that's a real big one, and it is amazing. It is absolutely amazing what society is doing globally around a lot of big lies, and who's pushing the lies and why. And it's very, very frustrating. I don't understand it myself. I don't understand who's behind it. Why the big war on humanity? Why the war on humans? Why? Why is there I don't know how many of them there are, but there is a group out there who is intentionally wreaking havoc on human beings, innocent human beings today on the face of the planet. I don't know why. I wish I could herd them up and dispose of them. But there you go. It's straight from the mouth, all right? So if you have it in you, if you care, if you have somebody who's confused or somebody who's searching for truth, share that little tidbit with them and tell them to do their due diligence and look up the facts, because it's very true. It's very true. There's a huge lie going on today. It's affecting every single one of us, and it needs to be stopped, all right? It needs to be stopped. Who's going to stop it? Everybody just going to sit there going like this? Well, I hope somebody stops it one day. Wow, look at that. I just hope somebody does something. Anyway, off they go. Right? And then I get back to being frustrated where I want to motivate people to move on truth. But anyway, let's listen to some voices. Like I said earlier, this one of these truths that I know of 100% to be absolute truth is going on today in the real world before us. And I am someone who was slapped in the face with that truth, and I'm going to share that truth as much as I can, and so are you, and let's get on with it. Babbling, it's a damn good coffee this morning. There you go. Please share that tidbit, all right? If you have to share this video to get it across, share it. Please, 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 please get those facts spread. Hi Steve, I'll keep this short, but I've been doing what you suggested, and when I find a person who's out in the woods a lot, I look them in the eye and I ask if they have seen anything that people can't or don't want to explain. It's very effective. So far I've had 2 co-workers at my current job tell me that they have seen the big guys, and one of my neighbors has had over 6 elk kills completely vanish. He finds where they fall over, expire, and there's just a big bunch of blood. There's nothing else, but you can see where the impression of the body was. I'm in Utah, and these hunts were in northern Utah. After a few years, my neighbor got chased out of his favorite hunting location, along with some mind speak telling him he wasn't welcome, so he refuses to go back. You know, on a comedy side of that, you'd think that they would let him be there because he's such an efficient hunter, and it's easy food for them, right? Anyway. His brother went back the next year and watched as Sabe walk down the hillside, stop, grab a tree, and turned to not only face him, but it stared him down for a solid 20 seconds. It was about 75 yards away and was roughly 8 to 9 feet tall, so his brother was understandably unnerved. He came back, and all he said was, "I saw what you were talking about, and I'm never going back there either." They both still hunt, just not that valley. My neighbor didn't want to talk about his experience until I shared my own experience of watching one harvesting bull thistle flowers when I was 12 in Southern Oregon. I watched this thing pulling the flowers off the tops of the thistle for a solid minute and a half, possibly 2 minutes. Once my neighbor knew I wasn't going to make fun of him or call him crazy, he opened up. That's how it always goes. Last story. I spoke with a customer where I work, and he shared with me a story from his sister. He said his sister was hiking in central Utah, and at one point on the trail, felt this immense pressure radiating from somewhere ahead. She pulled out her camera and just started taking pictures in the general direction. Once she got home, she inspected the pics on her computer, and this attached photo is what she saw. I cannot vouch for the authenticity of the picture or for the character of the man sharing this with me, but the picture itself gave me a visceral gut reaction that I've never experienced before. It honestly triggered my fight or flight instincts. I showed the pic to my brother, and same thing. The hair on his body stood up, and his first words were, "I don't like that. Take it or leave it." This is far more common than I'd ever guessed. Thank you, Steve, for helping so many people either recover their passion for the outdoors or prepare mentally for seeing something unexplainable. Side note, I hope you and all your viewers have some food storage together, because our governments obviously do not have our best interests at heart. You and the family stay safe. Randy Foster, you can use my name. Randy, I appreciate your email, man. It took a lot of time to go out of your way to do that for everybody here. And I do not doubt for a second that you have seen what you saw. Your friend Utah with the elk makes total sense to me. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to be the messenger, the bubble burster with the photograph, which I'm not going to share. That photograph is an absolute 100% hoax. I'm sorry to share that with you. The person that created that photo and video is obviously quite passionate about this subject, so passionate that I feel that that person was driven to try to convince the world that he had 2 or 3 of these beings crystal clear sitting there looking at the camera while sitting on a tripod in video, which I will say with confidence, unfortunately, that was an absolute hoax. Sorry. What motivated that person to share that, including his sister's testimony, saying it was, I don't know, who knows, but let's put it this way. If I had to wager at all, I would wager my life that that photo and the videos that accompany that original photo are absolute hoax. I'm sorry, but they are. But other than that, keep on digging and keep on sharing, man. And keep talking to people the way you do. You will learn so much more when you just look people in the eyes, square up with them, and speak to them honestly and with a demeanor that they know they're safe, right? It's very effective. These are recent emails that I'm reading, all right, you guys? Hello there, sir. Clifford Stevens again. I want to let you and everyone know here these encounters I have had, because it opens a lot on what we have all been lied to about concerning these beings called Sabe and much more. My grandfather was 100% Kickapoo Indian, so my dad was half and I'm a quarter. My dad was a coal miner in Colorado. He always told me about him and his co-workers always having experiences and seeing large human-like footprints in and around the mine portals that lead underground. So I've always known about these beings. We moved to Kansas, and my grandfather would take me into the woods around Burlington, Kansas, seeking mushrooms, and would educate me on the trees, wildlife, and Sabe. He just called them wild man. This early education to such topics made me a person that was very observant to my surroundings. That's frickin', I love hearing that. As we all should be, right? I learned early in life to just observe everything, so in doing so, it helped me look outside the world's box most live in. Because of me owning and running my own pest control company in southeast Kansas, I got the inside scoop, so to speak, from very prominent and high-ranking people, from mayors, state senators, celebrities, law enforcement officers, and good hard-working people. You know, now that I know what I know, I would have to put good hard-working people at the top of any list for looking for honest information today. Okay, I'll keep reading, sorry. Heck, I treated a hunting cabin in Pittsburgh, Kansas, that Jay Novacek, tight end for the Dallas Cowboys, would frequently go turkey hunting at. All that to say, I have seen and witnessed much. I've seen black cougars, mountain lions, lynx, bobcat, and even wolves in southeast Kansas. So Sabe is there too. They're everywhere, and the nuclear plant in Burlington, Kansas has many secrets. I witnessed much last year being down there, and even when I was young going to high school there. The predator incident I wrote to you before was at the river dam in town, and always had strange activity because of its close proximity to the nuclear plant. I heard owl calls nightly from something too large to be an owl just prior to my so-called visual of the predator incident. Large rectangular crafts, wired night ops by covert entities, and so much more. Maybe that'd be weird night ops by covert entities and so much more. It's difficult to put in an email, hence my sending you multiple emails. Maybe if you decide to do a podcast, I can come on and just share there, because what I witness is lengthy, and in most cases had eyewitnesses to verify my accounts. It's a very strange world out there, and we have been lied to since birth. Yes, we have. That's why I homeschooled my daughters and delivered my last daughter myself, because I don't trust the establishment. Good for you. We all have the power to anything if we apply ourselves and just learn. Anyway, sorry for lengthy. Sorry, so lengthy, but the truth needs to be shared. It's time we take it back from evil. Be blessed and keep moving forward. You too, man. You too. Appreciate your time. And I love that email. And tell you what, man, don't ever think it's too long. You got to put them all together, right? Because what happens is, what I've noticed, and that's why I'm doing recent emails today and alternating. Because I'll get an email, say like yours, and then you'll write a part 2 or a part 3, and I might get it 6 months later, and then 99% of people around here don't even know what the F we're talking about, right? So that's why I encourage everybody to get it all out in one email. I don't give a shit how long it is. Get it all out. One go, okay? Be safe out there and keep digging and stay free and independent like you are. I love that. Frickin' love that. Okay, this one's older, January 31st, 2022. Oops, where did it go? There it is. Let me mark this as red. Subject of Bigfoot in Colorado. Hello, Steve. I hope this is the right email for the subject of Bigfoot. I cannot find any others but this hunting guide email. Thank you very much for all you do. I have one small story about one of my family's trips to Ouray, Colorado, back in about 1982. I've always believed in Bigfoot, but I've never personally seen one. And I, too, like many of the people writing to you, used to watch the old TV series In Search Of, hosted by Leonard Nimoy. Spock. Anyway, this one particular trip in July 82 to Ouray, Colorado, my mom, dad, sister, and I camped out on a very beautiful place there called Governor Pass, located at 11,000 feet above sea level, right at the timberline where the trees can no longer grow. We camped at the base of a huge rock basin where it was almost as an amphitheater, and you could hear a pin drop in that basin. Anyway, there were constant small rock slides coming from that amphitheater, but we never saw where the rock slides were coming from. It seemed to us that the rock slides were caused by somebody walking up there, but we never saw anybody, and we had the whole mountain to ourselves. I always thought this area would be a perfect place to see a Bigfoot, and I've not been back since due to active duty in the Army. I just retired in February 2018. And also marital problems, currently going through a divorce. Oh, sorry to hear that, man. I plan to go back there as soon as I can to this very spot with my dog and camp and see if there's anything out of the ordinary. Currently I live in Killeen, Texas. What compelled me to write you about this was that there was somebody a couple months back who wrote you about their encounter with a Sasquatch near Pagosa Springs, Colorado, which is not far from the Ouray, Colorado. Please tell my story in your commentary and tell the people watching that if there's anybody living in the Ouray, Colorado area who may have a Bigfoot encounter to write into you and tell their story. Or you can put it in the comment section underneath this video so it gets to this much quicker for this person to read about it, right? P.S. Please keep us posted about the trucker strike in Ottawa, Canada. Support the truckers and all the people protesting there over the stupid COVID vaccine Marxist mandates. If truckers cannot deliver the goods to an area, that location will starve. People are dumb and they need to wake the hell up. Please just use my first name of Mike. God bless you, Steve, and your family. Keep up the good work. I enjoy reading your stories. The elk roast you said your wife made sounded really good. I hope one day I can go elk hunting and get one. Okay, man. Appreciate it. Keep your head on a swivel when you're investigating that area, man. Careful what you ask for, right? How they always say it. Careful what you ask for. If you guys, everybody out there has an encounter in that area, just reply in the comment section below. If you want to be more direct and quicker reply to this kind person, just email all you. Let's keep this thing ripping. The coffee's kicking right in. It moved at a supernatural speed. Excuse me. All right, hold on a minute. Dear Steve, greetings from North Mississippi. I'm 68 years old and I've listened to every one of your videos on cryptids. I've shared them with friends and family and anyone I thought would listen. I appreciate so much what you've done for the cause. Now on my short encounter. I was on the tractor, bush hogging on open field, when probably 15 yards from me, in the edge of a wooded area, appeared something maybe 4 or 5 feet in height. It ran, glided, or moved so fast that I couldn't even make out its image. It moved at an incredible supernatural speed. It went maybe 50 yards before disappearing into the thick brush. The only thing I could make out was its color. It was jet black and orange, and I mean shiny. If it had hair, I don't know how it could have been that bright and shiny. It was shiny like pattern leather. It was shiny like pattern leather. And this is very unreal. If this thing had ran into something, it would have exploded. Needless to say, I was shocked. Now please allow me to discuss with you a very important subject. Steve, you're in a position in which you can influence a multitude of people, and I know you have already. I can tell by many of these emails you read off. You've influenced people and even dear little children that hear some of your videos while their parents are listening to them, and they've picked up on this coarse, vulgar talk that you seem to love to spout out. I guess you think this makes a man macho or masculine. If this is your upbringing, that's no excuse. Just like it's no excuse for a military man to keep talking filthy after he leaves the military. Come on, we're grown, responsible men. This is degraded for a man of stature, and it's an affront to our good women. You're supposed to be treated, who are supposed to be treated like ladies. To call men pussies was not the word sissy good enough for you? And what about your phrase, that sucks dick? This is repulsive. All right, listen, this looks like a 4-paragraph chastising of me with my language. And it is what it is. It's unfortunate you're offended by my language. There's nothing I can do for you about that. That's how you are going to carry yourself through this lifetime. And you have the choice whether or not you're going to come here and listen to me speak or not. This is who I am, and this is the way I speak, and I'm not embarrassed or ashamed of it. I know that I am good at heart, and I mean well, and I can get a little rough at times, but that's just the way it is. Oops. No apologies coming to you from me, okay? But I appreciate your time you took out to share experience with us. And we're going to carry on. And trust me, if anybody out there, if you feel the need to go online and chastise people for possibly not speaking or delivering their speech the way you want them to, my God, you're going to be at it a long time if you're going to try to police the internet that way. Anyway, I won't even go there right now, all right? I appreciate your concern. Yeah, moving along. Remember, you guys, I know maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong on a whole pile of shit. But like I've always said since day one, and this isn't being assaulting or confrontational, but the fact of the matter is, the day you stop caring what anyone thinks is the day you are free. Okay? So I've said that from day one. That's my stance in life. So obviously, when I get an email or I get chastised for anything, oh well. Colville National Forest tree break. Hi, Steve. Ross Rockstad writing in again. I recently drove. It sounds like it's like a rock star name. Ross Rockstad. Writing it again, I have recently drove north of my place up to the Colville National Forest, west of Kettle Falls, to check out a Jeep trail. A friend was going to accompany me in his Jeep, but I had other things to attend to, so he canceled on me. I normally don't go alone into the forest anymore, but I had the bug to check out this Jeep trail, so off I went. I only ran 1 mile of the trail, thinking I'll return with friends, hopefully before the summer or fall have passed, to complete running the trail. I missed this particular tree break on the way in, but had bumped the Jeep top pretty good, thinking I'd cut it out of the trail on the way out. Upon returning to the low-hanging tree over the trail, I got out and grabbed my handsaw. As I looked at the tree, I noticed it was directly across the trail and was broken high up, not uprooted and leaning or completely horizontal like many trees in the area. Looking closely at the break, there were no saw or claw marks. The surrounding trees were all living and were of the same age. This tree looked to be dead for a year or so. This tree was broken 112 inches up from the ground and was all of 4 inches diameter at the break. I left the tree as for others to discover. Thanks for all you do, Ross, Rockstad, Hunters, Washington. That's a thick tree. That's an odd break. Like you said, there's no other ones broken there. Well, I'm gonna do it this way, you guys, because I always forget, right? Oops, sorry. So, there's the tree across the road. All right? If you look close, there's nothing else similar, because usually when wind or snow does it, there's always more accompanying. But look at that. It's a good, hefty, solid, stout piece of wood. There you go. Another odd sign, right? Thanks for your email, Ross. Keep coming. You got anything that's going to help the people, man. You keep it coming. Okay, red. Oh, here we go. What do we got here? A night to remember. Excuse me. Hi, Steve. Thanks for all you do for us. As people, we need to tell their story somewhere they won't be laughed at. I'm an Air Force and Navy veteran, and I'm now retired. I lost my job at the local casino back in March because I refused to get the jab and refused to be tested on a weekly basis. Good for you. Who knows, maybe one day we will all be compensated. Yeah, right, LOL. I've never seen the big man, but I've seen other strange things. I want to share my story in case someone else saw what I did that night. They won't think they're crazy. I was soon leaving for basic training, and I was staying with my sister Sue until I left. It was a hot summer night in a town called California. It's a small town in central California and is farming country. I'm not sure of the time, but we were all asleep. The dogs in the neighborhood started barking and howling and woke us up. We went outside to investigate and saw what appeared to be people on top of the house across the street, shining flashlights everywhere. As we kept watching, we realized they were further away than across the street, and they weren't flashlights. The lights were darting around in the sky, and we watched them for several minutes. Then, one by one, each went up into a straight line and then shot off in different directions and disappeared. The dogs gradually quieted down, and while standing there pondering what we had just seen, the next thing we saw was unbelievable. It started out low, like it had just taken off, and gradually went up into the sky and flew right past our house. Steve, this thing was huge. It looked like a giant orange/yellow ball or a small sun. It made no sound and just took its time climbing into the sky until it was finally out of sight. We both stood there with our mouths open, basically in shock. I don't know why, but I felt I had to go investigate, even though my sister was begging me not to go. I jumped into my '61 Chrysler Batmobile. It had fins, LOL, pushed the automatic transmission button and sped off in the direction it had taken off from. Well, I drove for about 15 minutes but saw nothing. I called the radio station, the news station the next day, nothing. Lemoore Naval Air Station is about 40 miles away, and they too reported nothing. That night changed my life, Steve, and I've never looked at the world the same ever since. Thanks, Steve. Hope you and your family have a happy, healthy, and blessed life. Tony Canning. Tony, appreciate it, man. You know you're not alone. And you know what? On that note, you guys, where was I? I was on my boat. It's pitch frickin' black out in the coast. Crystal clear night. And I'm looking up in the sky, gazing away. And then I just started getting a little overwhelmed, feeling like, holy shit. You know? When you look up into the sky and see all that shit darting around up there and how far it goes, it just really freaks me out sometimes. Because it is just so absolutely bizarre that we are even actually alive. right? It's just freaking bizarre. So much doesn't make sense. And then you see what's going on up there and how far everything away and how immense and how huge it is and what's out there. And then you come back here and you turn on anything on TV or whatever and you watch the absolute embarrassing shit show that's going on here. People arguing about whether or not a man is a woman, right? People going to war, invading other countries, killing the shit out of each other for money and power. It's kind of weird. Men dressing up as strippers and stripping in front of kindergarten schools. Classes. People arguing, fighting. It's bizarre, man. So bizarre, but when you look up there, it really starts to create a little bit of anxiety for me because we are so insignificant and there's so much going on and we really don't have a frickin' clue, right? So bizarre. Anyway, we'll see if anybody else seen the same thing you saw. I'm sure they did, as usual. It's titled Bigfoot Sighting. Steve's name is Mitch Rawls. I did not believe the Sasquatch existed until my mom and her cousin saw one walking on the embankment as they were traveling up Route 17 on their way from Elizabeth City, North Carolina to Portsmouth, Virginia. This occurred in the mid-'80s. Mom knew nothing of Bigfoot. She would never make up stuff or lie, plus her cousin was also a witness. Not to mention a whole station wagon full of my younger siblings and cousins. Sorry, I'm not a computer literate, but I'm getting there. Route 17 goes from Florida all the way up the East Coast to New England area. 17 borders the Great Dismal Swamp. It is long and big. I think that is where the Sasquatch came from. The embankment was about 4 feet high. They said as they passed by it, the creature looked down into the car at them. That would put it at about 9 to 10 feet tall. It had long, dark brown hair, 3 or 4 inches long. It was not a bear. I know it was real because Mom would not make up such a thing. And that is what made me believe. I originally sent this to you when you first started, before your 2 sharing email addresses. It went to your comments. I know they exist, but I do not want to see one. I don't blame you. The Big Dismal Swamp, I've never heard that name. I don't think. Doesn't ring a bell. Sounds interesting. Sounds like it must be significant to be named that. And there's just no doubt about it, right? I don't question your mom's testimony for a second. Why? Because I seen the same damn thing. It's kind of funny, so many people shrug it off. Yeah, right. What are they smoking? What have they been drinking? When meanwhile, all you have to do is get back to common sense and rational thinking when it comes to any topic, and you got to think about it. And you put yourself in the position of the original emailers, and you think, I think I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning, and I'm going to be so bored. What should I do today? I know what I'm going to make up. I'm going to make up this shit show story. I'm going to do my due diligence, come up with names and rivers and creeks and counties and highways and intersections and describe them accurately because I'm making this up. And then I'm going to throw in a hairy monster because I'm bored. Said no one ever, right? Said no one ever. And if they did, it's not very common. You got to admit at this point of the game, I don't think it's very common at all for people to make up a shit show story and send it in. I've definitely had a few, and I nipped them off in the bud after talking with Dave Plies a few times. And he's a professional investigator, so he gave me a handful of hints that made absolute sense. But for the most part, not too many people are making shit up. Here's another short one titled, The Deer That Got Yanked Back. And this pertains to an email that was shared recently. Hello, Steve. In your episode titled, Cast a GoPro into a Portal, you mentioned a deer pulled back by invisible force. I experienced a similar event in the mid-1980s. I was driving one night in late autumn, northbound on Ohio Route 7. The road is 2 lanes, with the Ohio River on my right and Wayne National Forest to my left. Driving a bit too fast, it was after dusk, but there were no other vehicles and the weather was clear. Then I saw a deer in the headlights. Front legs standing on the yellow line, its head and neck in my lane, looking right at me. Maybe 20 years ahead, and I did not see it until I was right on top of it. Too late to swerve, too late to brake. I had to hope it would back away, and I braced myself. Then it disappeared, as in vanished, as in evaporated. I did not see it move. It was there, and a millisecond later, it was not there. Nearly 40 years later, I still think about it. Steve, thanks for all you do, Alan. All right. Now, how many times do you get people to write in 40, 50, 25, 30 years later, they still can't think about something I witnessed or saw? And that's, not everybody, including myself. I always try to, when I'm sharing an experience I've had, I always go into probably too much detail because I'm just trying to paint the picture accurately to help put the people there with me as I was experiencing it. And it's a tough thing to do. So, like this kind person who emailed all of us, it sounds like a simple thing to us. I saw the feet, the shoulders, the head, the neck, right in my lane, then it just vanished. It's a simple, quick story, but that experience had a massive impact on this person to make them think what the hell happened for 40 years straight. So the delivery may have been simple, but you got to think about it. That happened to this person, right? They saw it clearly, although the story relayed to us is fairly simple. But if you try to put yourself in that person's shoes and really try to picture what they saw and how it went down, then you can absolutely understand why they would add in, I haven't stopped thinking about 40 years, which I don't think anybody would stop if they saw absolutely for sure, for certain, for clear, a 200-pound frickin' deer, half of it's down there in the headlights, and all of a sudden it just vanishes, poof. Right? Who wouldn't not think about that for years? Crazy, man. Crazy. It's very interesting to hear of truth, isn't it? When our upbringing, our daily lives are absolutely smothered in lies today. So that's why all this truth is so interesting. It's almost like we're being born again and educated all over again, right? Because the past slew of education was absolute horse shit. All right. It's a fair size email. I'm going to dive in. Then I'm going to get moving. I'm going to take Sarah into a 3-day fishing derby, try to win 10 grand. And then I got to try to figure out how to get this damn boat home, get my shit packed. And then for all you hunters out there who are curious, I'm going to leave here. I'm hopefully going to help 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people get bull elk. Then after that, I'm possibly going to go hike in and film a Dall sheep hunt. And then after that, I'm going to go into the mountains by myself and hunt stone sheep. That's what I'm getting geared up to do after this. 51 years ago, dear Steve Isdall, thank you for all you do. I would not have told my story if not for you and your courage and strength. All right, man. Good news. I remember the first experience I sent you, I was feeling some apprehension. Use my name, I did not give an F. Thank you again. Here's my effing book for you. All right, man, let her rip. My first experience, or so I thought, was a 14-foot tall no-head east of Prince George, BC in Wansa Creek, September 24th, 2019. That started a journey inward. The Blem, B-L-E-M-M. Yes, I saw. Told me, you did not see me. This message was mind speak. This experience caused me to sift through my lifetime experience to try to recall if I had suppressed any other memories. It seemed plausible to me that the combination of the power of suggestion combined with my own state of shock and fear combined to result in memory suppression. I endeavored to both remember and deal with all my lifetime collection of suppressed experiences. This is not an easy undertaking. I had witnessed 2 murders and an abduction that resulted in a person going missing and do not know if that crime has been solved. My childhood was strewn with traumatic and violent abusive events. Enough background. In 1971, I lived with my family on Allen Road just north of the Hartley Road, where it intersects with Sylvester Road. I was 9 years old. All right, we're talking central British Columbia, in Prince George. My parents had gone to a shindig at McConnell Creek Community Hall. My sisters were doing an overnighter at neighboring friends. My brother Ross, who was 4 years older than I, and a neighbor kid, Andy Bellinger, had the house to ourselves. We were enjoying ourselves, doing dumb kid things. When at about 11 p.m., Andy and myself set about carrying a mattress out to the back door to put on the floor in my brother/my bedroom for Andy to sleep on. We had to go outside onto the porch, up a very steep set of stairs, in a hatch door, across some rafters into another door, then finally into our attic bedroom. It was rustic as hell, but kind of cool for kids. I went out the back door afterwards. I went out the back door backwards, packing my end of the mattress. Andy had the other end. When he cleared the doorway, he looked past me. His eyes got big as saucers. Andy dropped his end of the mattress and ran back inside the house. And I said, "What the heck?" I turned around to see what the F scared Andy so bad. I saw a man, at least 7 feet tall. His top of head seemed more pointed than a person, but larger also. He was standing as though he was crouched, so he may have been even taller. His waist and legs were covered in dark-colored hair. His torso, chest, upper arms was partially hairy. I could see skin, a mid-gray color. The 60-watt porch light did not provide optimal view, but at 9 years old, my visual acuity was very good. I could see he had a large, set jaw, a wide mouth, black-looking eyes. He looked right at me. I froze. He gestured towards me with his right hand. It looked like he had a pork chop in his hand. But in fact, he pointed 2 of his 5 to 6 inch long banana-sized fingers at me. I believe he was going to grab me. I was only 5 or 6 feet away from this guy. Ooh, holy shit, that's close. His hands and fingers were so large that I thought he had something in his hand. I could not make sense of any of this. I panicked. I got an adrenaline rush and terror like never before. I bolted for the door to get back inside. I tripped over what? I do not know, maybe the mattress. I had only a bath towel about my waist after my bath, and it had come off in the frenzy. I was completely naked, flailing my legs, kicking my feet because I thought the hairy man was trying to grab me. I managed to grab the door and slam it and lock it. We had been told to call a neighbor, Dick Ainsworth, if we had any trouble, so we did. My brother wanted to know what the F. I lied and said, "There's a tall man on the porch, but I did not see him clearly." Complete bullshit. I saw him very clearly, but I knew no one would believe me, and that's why I lied. Andy denied any clear sight. He may have been telling the truth, but he saw something for sure. Mr. Ainsworth came over with a 6-volt flashlight and his .30-06 rifle. He called the police from our house after he heard our account. He went out and walked the property. He was out for a half an hour and then returned. He stayed with us until the officer arrived from Mission, BC. Mission? Oh, so you're not in Prince George. And the officer took notes. The officer thought our late-night visitor was a Rubby from Miracle Valley, which was a Salvation Army dryout center about 2 miles away. Okay, let me read that one more time smoother. The officer thought our late-night visitor was a Rubby from Miracle Valley, which was a Salvation Army dryout center about 2 miles away. The officer thought maybe he was just looking for alcohol. I knew better. Beyond the landing to the stairs that went to our bedroom was a storage room which held feed for our chickens, rabbits, dog food, cat food, etc. in large bins that were hinged to tip out for easy access. Our freezer was also located in this storage space, I seem to recall. The result was very pissed off parents. They did not believe the story. My brother and I were grounded, and for punishment, we were forced to dig out the sewer with our shovels. It needed cleaning out. Good thing I never tried to tell them the truth. They would have made me clean out that sewer with a epping straw in my mouth. Slurp, slurp. For the record, my parents were assholes. Mostly my dad was pissed drunk, and our event caused to be a buzzkill. Mom was powerless to reason with Dad when he was like that. When Dad's mind-splitting hangover relented that afternoon at about 4 p.m., he let us stop digging. We were pretty much done anyway. Ross did most of the work. Mr. Ainsworth had returned that following day and walked the property fence line in daylight. Mr. Ainsworth said he found a large bare footprint by the fence line. I remember my mom and dad complaining that our feed was disappearing very rapidly. Of course it had to be us kids overfeeding our pets, the livestock. There were cracked corn, oats, pellets for the rabbits, and crumbled shells for the hens. I knew effing well who was eating up all our feed. Sincerely, Philip. Aphamal John Hukin. The only thing worse than all that, Dad got the neighbor over and they killed/butchered all the rabbits. Then they tried to feed our pet bunny rabbits to us. We would not eat a bite. My 11 and 12-year-old sisters went completely mentally retarded with snot and tears because of that. P.S. for Steve. All right. All right, man. Gotcha. Okay, we'll see what happens. Usually when I get to Prince George, I'm still ripping through, man. All right, it's very tough for me to stop. I always want to stop and see people all over the damn province, but it's so hard. It's so hard. I'm usually behind in time, and it's frustrating for me. But anyway, thanks for that share, man. I appreciate it. And keep it coming in. Oh, here's a freaking magazine. Oh my God, that's a big one. We got a monster coming here. I'm going to read that. I'm going to title that number 1 so that next time I crack this open, we hit that first. Because it's a book. Anyway, I got to get going. Thanks for the invite to stop over, man. I don't know. I just rattled off what I'm going to be trying to do the next month. Time's going to be tight. But anyway, there you go. I wonder if anybody recognized those streets, those neighborhoods, and is watching today and might be able to relate to what this kind person just emailed into all of you. We'll see. I gotta get moving. But anyway, if you have it in you, you don't have to share the email, but possibly at least just share the facts that the scientists shared with us about the CO2. All right? I don't need any more evidence at all to prove to me that we have been just ran around in a big circle in this lifetime to date. But something's coming. Something's been going on. I don't know why there is such the... I just haven't a clue why there is such a frickin' war on humanity right now. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Don't understand it. There's so much cool shit going on in the real world. So much fun to be had. You know, you watch all these evil pricks. You watch all these evil pricks trying to control us and try to do this, try to that. Meanwhile, they have the funds. They have the funds to take their family to the most beautiful places in the world nonstop every single day and celebrate that. But they choose to be dark instead. I don't get it. I just don't get it. But anyway, keep sending it in. Share my story at howtohunt.com and send in those experiences and the truth about what's going on in our real world. And send in something that'll either help you or help somebody else, all right? But that's our main theme, is trying to help. I want people to get back in the real world. I want people to see through this veil of bullshit that's upon us. And rock this lifetime out, right? Gotta go. Babblin'. The coffee was good today. I'll be back shortly.
Don't move.